So I got an Italian passport, but it almost didn't happen. When I visited the town where my great-grandparents were from in Sicily, I found their handwritten birth certificates. And at the time, I didn't really know what that would mean for me, but it turns out it would change everything in my life. A few years later, I found out I could apply for citizenship through descent, which basically means I could become Italian by proving I was already Italian. I submitted my application just 1 month before the law changed. If I had waited, it never would have happened. Here's my story. So once I made the decision to apply for Italian citizenship, the first thing I thought of was, I'm gonna apply in the United States, right? It sounds easy enough, but actually it really wasn't. I thought I could just make an appointment, order all my documents, but it turns out it wasn't that simple. I had to go online to this super glitchy website, try and make sure I had the fastest internet speed I possibly could, have multiple browsers open and my email, put in a verification code. Basically, this was impossible. Trying to get an appointment was like playing the slots. I got so serious about it that I even got an Ethernet cord for a faster internet. I joined multiple Facebook groups to research the best strategies on how to get an appointment. I had to log in at 3 p.m. Pacific time, which was midnight Rome time, and that's when new appointments opened up. However, even through all of that effort, I still could not get an appointment at the consulate in Los Angeles. At some point I realized this was just not going to happen in the United States, and because I work remote, I thought, why not just move to Italy, live there for a little while, establish residency, and apply for my Italian citizenship through descent while living there. And that's what I did. And actually, getting an appointment at the Italian consulate in LA wasn't even the beginning of things. I had to order all of my documents: birth certificates, death certificates, marriage certificates, certificates that proved that my ancestors had never naturalized as US citizens. I had to make sure I had every single piece of paper ordered and apostilled to make sure that they were real documents, that none of this was fake, and that I was actually proving citizenship through descent. Another key factor was that my grandfather had turned 18 before my great-grandpa ever became a US citizen, which he technically never did naturalize. I did consult with a lawyer and they said I could qualify. However, I decided not to hire a lawyer or any other consulting firm to help me collect these documents because I figured out that it really wasn't so complicated to order them online. There's a system that you can use that was fairly easy to figure out. And if I had hired a consultant, it would have cost me thousands and thousands of dollars. And so I thought, I'm going to do this myself. It definitely took more time. It took me almost 2 years to collect all my documents because of complications. You know, to get my grandpa's birth certificate, I needed to prove that I was related to him. I had to get his death certificate. So all said and done, collecting my documents took about 2 years. And then by the end, when I did have all my documents, because I was applying in Italy, I needed to translate them all into Italian and go through a second certification process. That did cost more money, but the cost savings was still significant compared to hiring a lawyer to do it. I felt like I had already run a marathon and I really hadn't even started anything yet. So after about 2 years of collecting documents, it was time for me to make the move to Italy. And it's really funny looking back and just thinking, oh, I left LA not even realizing that it would be my last few weeks in Los Angeles. I fully expected to move home to LA after. I thought the process would take 4 months. I was very hopeful, but things actually, of course, did not go according to plan, as you might expect. I didn't see it coming, but it was maybe clear to other people in my life. So the decision to move to Italy really changed everything. I chose Sardinia, and I chose to come to Sardinia because I found a language school here, and I thought it would be much easier to study Italian, make friends at the school, and build some connections, find housing through the school. I kind of figured there wouldn't be many other people applying for Italian citizenship through descent here. And I was kind of wrong. Not many Americans, but many other people in general. I arrived in Sardinia in January, and I didn't realize that I was in such a tourist town. Everything was quiet. No restaurants were open, no stores, no shops. It was cold, rainy. I had no central heating. I was freezing in my apartment. I was far away from home in a place with a different language, which I loved because I've been learning Italian while I've been here. But it still added so much isolation. There was things happening back home. The LA fires were happening back home. It happened like the day after I arrived, the first fires. And I was just so stressed and so isolated and so far away from anyone I knew. I had no friends here. It was just so rocky. I remember sitting in my apartment one night alone thinking, what have I done? Have I just completely blown up my life for no good reason? Is this really that important to me? Is it really that important to get a second passport to become an Italian citizen? I just hope this was the right choice. But then, things did start to change. I moved apartments. I got a roommate. I made new friends. And in the springtime, things started to really just blossom and open up here. Restaurants opened. More tourists came in, the town became more lively, and all of a sudden my life was just taking off. I wasn't just waiting for the paperwork anymore. I was actually just enjoying living my life here. I wasn't in any rush for the paperwork to get done. I just loved being here in Sardinia. Also, it definitely helped that the weather was warmer and I could go to the beach because the beaches here are super nice. So I submitted my application in February, and crazy enough, a month after that, the law changed and people who had great-grandparents could no longer apply for Italian citizenship. You had to have a parent or a grandparent in order to be eligible to apply through descent. And so the timing it just felt like destiny, just thinking if I had waited, this never would have happened. And so things really went quiet from that point on. I just waited. I didn't really ask for updates. I just kind of sat in a place of, I'm just going to trust the process and let it go. I wasn't pushy. I didn't visit the Comune, the government office here. I didn't make any demands because I just wanted to enjoy my life and just let the process do its own work. Finally, around mid-April, I found out that my application would definitely take at least 6 months to process. Then I knew I would be here until August, and that was definitely surprising. Okay, more waiting. I had a wonderful, wonderful summer in Sardinia. Fortunately, I work remote, so I was able to work remotely. That it was such a privilege that I was able to do that. Every day I was socializing. I was hanging out with friends, getting aperitivo, walking up and down the town, the lungomare here. There were so many tourists. I was going on sailboats. I literally would just find myself on a boat multiple times this summer. Just somehow I got lucky, and friends of friends had a boat, and we'd be out on the water, seeing the most blue water I've ever seen in my life. We were doing weekend trips around Sardinia. And then in July, I decided to check in. I thought, I've been pretty patient. I've been pretty quiet. I'm going to check in and see how things are going. And I found out that the Comune here was just waiting on one piece of information. They were waiting for the Los Angeles consulate to verify that my ancestors had never naturalized. And when I heard that information, I was just a bit like, oh, could we speed things up? Like, at that point, yes, I was trying to surrender to the process, but I also struggled with anxiety in my life and not having certainty, not knowing when things would happen. It was difficult for me. I wanted to move on with my life and move forward with my life and really decide where my next move was going to be. So the longer the government took to do their paperwork, the longer my life was on hold. Also, I was stuck in a place of uncertainty, like, am I going to get approved? Or what if there's hiccup and there's some sort of way that this doesn't happen for me, and then I have to rethink all of this time, money, energy, and changing my whole life was for nothing. And that just ate away at me, thinking it's not certain until it's certain, you know? I won't believe it till I see it, kind of thing. And so as time passed, I slowly began to realize, you know what? I actually don't want to go back to Los Angeles. I didn't want to leave everything that I had found here. No one is at the beach right now, except for these people. Yeah, and so that's when I realized at some point in the beginning of the summer, I just thought, I can't go back to Los Angeles. I don't know if it ever really has been a culture fit for me. It was my home of 15 years. I lived there from 2008 to 2024, the end of 2024. But it's a city that is big and loud and massive, and it feels like everyone is struggling there. Everyone struggles, and it's hard to really lift yourself up. It's hard to be around people. It's hard to socialize. It costs money to go anywhere. It's hard to see your friends. And my life in Italy was completely the opposite. I saw my friends multiple times a week. There was always something to do. I lived steps from the beach. I was able to run. I started a running habit, and it was just easy, just so easy. Things felt so effortless. There was less resistance, and I thought, I want to build a life in Italy. Everything happening in the United States right now also contributed to that decision. The politics, the uncertainty of the situation, the fear that I had, the very valid, real fear of the direction the country's going also has terrified me. And I'm someone who, I want to build a family. I want to have a family. And thinking about raising a child in the United States was not something that I wanted to do. And if I'm able to, I think I would rather do it in a place that offers a lot more safety than anywhere I could think of. The US is just becoming more and more unaffordable. I couldn't see it for my future anymore. I'm 35 right now, and I don't have a lot of time left to make decisions and make mistakes in my decisions. But also, you don't have to always see it that way, because really every big decision is reversible, or at least a learning lesson. I kind of think if you want something enough, you're not going to be able to forget about it. And I've been thinking about leaving the US for somewhere else for a long, long time. I think it's been a decision that I've been really questioning for, well, ever since I picked up those birth certificates in 2018. So a few weeks later, I went in, and it happened. It really, really happened. I waited for a couple minutes, and then two people came out and gave me a couple pieces of paper. They printed them off the printer. They handed it to me, asked me to sign, and said, Oggi sei italiana, which means today you are Italian. I got two pieces of paper that say that I'm an Italian citizen. I just said grazie mille, and I just said this is a beautiful day. I cannot believe I did it. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And honestly, it felt surreal. It still feels surreal. I still can barely believe that this is my reality, and I have the freedom to stay and live here. I have the freedom to travel throughout Europe, and that is just such a privilege. It's such a privilege, and I'm so grateful, and I really feel like I'm being reborn. It feels like a whole new, fresh start. It took a lot of work, a lot of research, and also money, like thousands of dollars. But I did it pretty much mostly on my own, but with a lot of help from other people. A lot of help from people who translated for me, who came with me to the office, who took photographs for me, who I had calls with, and who answered my questions about little details like getting a marca de bollo and official paperwork and how to do that. And really, I am just so filled with love and gratitude and appreciation for this whole experience. It's been a 7-year process since I stood in that office in Sicily holding my great-grandparents' birth certificates. And today, now, finally, I'm Italian. And this was such a gift to myself and the beginning of a whole new life. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this one coming soon.